This certainly was a chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen. What's up, guys? I'm Pencil here to do a breakdown and discussion, a quick breakdown and discussion and review of chapter 269 of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is known as Consideration. And I had a lot of time to have a consideration about this chapter, and I feel a whole bunch of things, and a lot of them are positive. But let's not waste any more time, and let's hop right into it. Heading me, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do it to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Today, another fun fact, I have 4 minutes to discuss the plot, the characters, the scaling, and the future. So let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into the plot. Now, admittedly, we are back in no plot land. Kind of, sort of, kind of, maybe, kind of, sort of. Mainly because the plot in its general archetypical framework is mostly over, even though they've yet to acknowledge certain things. You may be wondering, Pencil, what the heck does that even mean in English? And I can tell you, the thing is, there's still no mention of whether the Culling Games is over. We have no idea how long it's been. We don't know what happened to Tengen. All we know is that maybe there's a clan war that's happening off screen that we aren't going to see. That's about it. Mainly because the Mei flashbacks, based on what we know, have to be based before the Shinjuku showdown even happened. That's all we are like 100% able to lay down concretely. They had to have happened before, considering they do have the black flashback paneling, and obviously it wouldn't really make sense for everyone to suddenly learn Simple Domain after the Shinjuku showdown. So naturally, that lets us sit here and quantify and understand, oh, okay. So like, there technically still is plot that needs to happen, but if there is plot progression, it surely wasn't in this chapter. This chapter, ultimately on a plot level, is a recap of previous plot points, many of which I would say are darn near irrelevant. Like, this is most certainly more so a character chapter with clarifications for people who may not have understood the Shinjuku showdown in its entirety. And that's, here's the thing, right? I'd say it's mostly okay, but it feels really unnecessary. But it only feels unnecessary to me because I read the manga and discuss it every week. So maybe this chapter was necessary for people who just pick up Shonen Jump every week, read the latest JJK chapter, and throw it away. Maybe that's it, because honestly, especially considering this is Gege Akutami, I'm wondering who this chapter is even for. As many people before me have already pointed out, this chapter very much feels like Gege went to the internet, typed in confusion about the Shinjuku showdown, and said, we'll have every character explain some of the most obvious things that have either A, already been explained, or B, these characters should know already. Why? Because the audience may not know. And I'd be more fine with it if we didn't have unresolved plot points. If we knew what happened to Tengen, if we knew how much time passed, if we knew if the Culling Games were over or not. But since we still have that left over, and considering the insane pacing of chapter 268, where we had to kill Sukuna, kill Urame, and end the Shinjuku showdown for the most part, and then cut to who undetermined time later in order to wrap up the Gojo and Megami plotline, and the Nobara and Gojo plotline, and all those, and we had to wrap up all that. To go from we're moving at the speed of light, maybe faster, we're about to break the universe, to let's recap, feels strange. If anything, it would make more sense if this chapter came before 268. I know that makes absolutely no sense, but at least the pacing of this chapter would have made more sense. Going from lightning speed to actually 0, if anything, going backwards, feels strange. The only thing I'll give the chapter on a plot point sense, and the only reason it's going to get like 1 point out of 5, is once again because we do get some lore and hypothetical implications for a clan war. But once again, it doesn't really matter to our cast and crew, because none of our cast and crew cares about the clan systems, and as is acknowledged in this very chapter, ultimately the clans are going to destroy themselves. It doesn't really matter. So in the end, they're kind of just done. Cooked, in fact. The plot feels very, very meandering this chapter, which is crazy considering the extreme plot importance of the last chapter, in spite of my distaste for its pacing. But let's now talk about the characters. Now, I have had a lot of time to think, and I have a 35-minute live reaction where you can check it over on Patreon for as low as $1 a month, or you can be a member for as low as $3 a month to check out the 35-minute live reaction. But ultimately, if I had one complaint about this chapter, it's that it makes characters kind of weird for pretty much no reason. The only characters who come out of this chapter entirely fine in terms of their characterization is, in my opinion, Yuta Kotsu, because a lot of his development took place in JJK 0, and he's remained a mostly static character throughout main series JJK, and thusly his character being just end of JJK 0 Yuta is fine, because nothing really changes on that. Itadori, Megami, and Obara make it out mostly fine this chapter. They are apologizing, they care, and they have their own reasons, even if I feel bad for Obara because she literally did nothing wrong, as she was literally in a coma. But still, they're fine. But I do kind of feel bad for Maki in this chapter. Not even just for the idea that she has to be the one to have the tsundere archetype, because she, despite all she's been through and all the character development she went through, post-Zen Clan Massacre, into Sakurajima, post-Sakurajima, all that, we still need to just have her be a basic JJK 0 tsundere because it's in character. That, I hate how she's stupid. Like she's an idiot who doesn't know how her own friend's abilities work, because she suddenly believes what the fandom commonly believed in the idea that Inumaki's cursed speech should have been used earlier on a stronger Sukuna, like the backlash wouldn't immediately kill him. Like, I'm sorry, Maki doesn't know that? Kind of crazy. Oh, sorry, Yuta, I guess we're blaming you for not having complete control over two fully grown adults from another continent that have their own free will. Sorry, Yuta, I guess you need to be blamed for that. Maki's doing that. And then everyone else starts to do it, which also doesn't make sense. That's the thing. No one really, like, once again, I say the main trio is the only group out of this, like, entire chapter that makes it off perfectly scot-free, because a lot of the arguments they make just don't make sense. Like, and that's why the chapter feels so weird to me on a plot and writing front, because it doesn't make sense, because these characters shouldn't ask this question, and it's a whole bunch of what-ifs. And hey, don't get me wrong, as a JJK fan and as a fan of anime and manga, I love me a good what if. I've been subscribed to Solid Saiyan for like the last 4 years. I've consumed way too much what if content of his alone, not to talk of who knows how many other bits of what if content. I've reacted to what if, I've made what if, trust me, I love it. In universe, it doesn't make sense though, because these characters have already finished this. Like, when I said I wanted reactions to the Shinjuku showdown after its end, this is not what I meant. I didn't mean drop Maki's IQ into the negative 50s and then make characters feel bad and pile on a 17-year-old for, you know, risking his life for everybody and actually clutching up the most insanely. I didn't mean that. I really didn't mean that. That's not what I want to get, but hey, if you like that, wouldn't be like that. The only character things I'm fine with in this chapter is I like the sharing of the burden of the strongest. Ultimately, everyone says what they feel bad about, what mistakes they made, how they feel in certain ways. Everyone compensates and apologizes in their own way. It does feel rather forced, mainly because no one really should apologize, because it doesn't really matter, because they won with very minimal casualties. With the survival of Higuruma, sure, Choso, who gets a mention by Ino, of all characters, which I'll admit shattered my ankles, but Choso and Gojo. No one cared about Kashimo. Kashimo doesn't even get a mention in this chapter. That's how irrelevant he was. And in everyone's defense, in Kashimo's defense, neither does Gojo. Ironically enough, he does not get a mention. But of course, that may lead to the Gojo Copium, which is Gojo Resurrection, which I still don't want. Gegi, please, don't bring him back. I'm begging you. But considering all this, all that, there's weird things all about this. But that aside, the only other character point I do want to highlight is the interesting interactions of Kusakabe. I like how he feels the most, because he feels the most rational and adult. But let's actually hop, into the new thing, scaling. Now you're wondering, hey, Pencil Man, what do you mean scaling? There's no fighting this chapter. You're right, but there are statements. First things first, the biggest one, the heftiest one, at least for me, as I say I'm a Hikari fan by like a thread. Like literally I'd pull out a piece of my hair on some Sun Wukong type beat and be like a thread. But I was planning to take on Sugan after dealing with Urarame, but man, she was strong. I still don't think Urarame she. I haven't heard Gege claim it. I'm not gonna trust Hikari, because I couldn't trust Hikari to beat Urarame in the first place. So why would I trust his belief on their gender? But with that being the case, Urarame is just that powerful. Wow, amazing. Wow, that's crazy. That's beautiful. That's wonderful. They only scale to each other. Hikari's scaling is still butt meat unless you want to take the Yuta statement and you want to take the Gojo statement implications. You want to take the external statement implications. And from what I've seen, no one wants to do that. Hikari's not even top 10. I think we can boot him out. I think we can wholeheartedly boot that boy out. He is a jackpot merchant who does no damage to any of his opponents and cannot help but stall forever and a day. Give him water against Kashimo or give him death, because that's all he can do. So scaling wise, Hikari is booty but meat. I fully accepted it. There ain't nothing to do about that. Other scaling thing, Rika can use RCT. This bothers me for one particular reason. If she could use RCT, why did she not merge Yuta back together immediately? Because we know Yuta was still alive. We know for a fact he was still alive when she was holding him. Because remember, Yuta dismantled his own domain himself to catch Sukuna off guard for Maki. So, if Rika could use RCT this entire time, and it's specifically Rika, I'm not sure, maybe the official translation will change this in the translations I'm reading, but in reality, Rika used reverse curse techniques to repair and sustain my body, which was treated by Yeri. When could she do this? When? I've heard people say she's been a Shikigami this entire time, and sure, that's a cool headcanon, bro. Find me a single page or single source or anything that says that. She's always been referred to as a curse. But we've seen curses use RCT before, except we haven't. It's only been Shikigami. But let's be fine with that. My main question is, why didn't she heal him sooner? Why did she wait until after the transfer to heal him? Is it something only fully manifested Rika can do? I don't know. They don't clarify that. It's strange. It's weird. I feel like Rika could have been a crazy healing support bot this entire time if she could heal. But I guess she just can now. And it feels the most forced and random. But hey, we'll take it. Rika can now heal. So Yuta's bag just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Also, another scaling thing, I'm gonna lay it plain out. Even if I still think Maki could clutch up a dub if you give her some earplugs, regardless, who knows? The way Maki's characterized in this chapter, she's mad stupid, so maybe she still lose. But Yuta's the strongest now. I've heard people say it's Yuji. He's not. Yuji is not even top 5. I'm gonna lay out and say it. After his performance against Sukuna, after seeing the booty butt cheeks that was his domain, and knowing that nothing likely is going to progress to make him any stronger, Yuji's not even top 5. Not even top. He may struggle. He may just struggle to hit top 8. Top 10. I don't see Yuji beating a non-incarnated okay, that's maybe some extra, that may be a little bit too much glaze, but still, ultimately, or anti-glaze on Yuji. Yuji, not top 5, he's not the strongest current sorcerer, he probably won't ever be. Yuta's alive, Yuta's fine, he's the strongest. Why does he have stitches? I don't know. Once again, I'm gonna go more in depth in the long review about that, but scaling wise, Yuji's not top 5, Hikari is trash, Yuta's the strongest. Those are the big 3 scaling points I have to take away from this chapter. And that's fine. Hey, once again, it's very impressive to get so much scaling for very important characters and heavy hitters in a chapter that has literally no combat in it, except for Mei, slaughtering a random very not innocent individual. A person who siphoned the life force from countless people to live as long as they have. Neat. Interesting. It's cool to get Symbol Domain and New Shadows lore. But finally, let's talk about the future. We need to address the Culling Games, and we need to address Tengen. Tengen does get a name drop in this chapter. They completely do get a name drop. But that is it. And this is a name drop that happens well before the Shinjuku Showdown, well before the transfer to Sukuna. We need to have the answer on that. Where are they? Are they in Megami still? I don't know. We didn't see Sukuna throw them up, as far as I know. They're still there. Speaking of, the Culling Games is presumably still going. I'm sorry, Gege, you may want to pretend, and I say may want to because we still have 2 chapters, who knows what can happen. You may want to pretend that we're all just going to forget about it, but I'm sorry, that was literally the back half of the manga. Shibuya ended around the 150s, and I maybe took it on that. Shibuya ended around then. The entire back half of the series was based around the Culling Games. You cannot just nebulously time skip into the future and act like I have no memory like Maki. I'm sorry. What is it? Where is it? What's happening with it? We have to address that. Every single character seems so blasé and free. Maybe it is over, and Gege just didn't tell us, but please do. It's the back half of your narrative, Gege. We knew when Shibuya was over. We got to another day. But the Culling Games is a multi-day event, unlike Shibuya, so you have to mention that, and you have to mention Tengen. For all those hoping for a sequel of JJK, especially based off this chapter, because of the clan war, no. The clan war is literally irrelevant. At least from my understanding of it, Mei herself explains that Amelia inquired someone who knows, is it possible for anyone to know? Girl, disciples, rival, blah, blah, blah. Your plan was control the entire Jujutsu world. It required a long time. You went so far. Great. Something's good about rebuttal and money. Monopoly, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, Mei says something along the lines of, the clans are going to destroy themselves. And contrary to popular belief, Yuta does not care about running the Gojo clan. Yuji, and Kamo do not care about running the Kamo clan. Zenin Maki, despite having her last name still, does not care about the Zenin clan, which she also, by the way, slaughtered all of. There is no Zenin clan left. Let's be honest with y'all. The clan war does not matter, and there are only 2 chapters left. And once again, this is all established pre-Shinjuku Showdown, which means it's and probably very, very, very pre-Shinjuku Showdown, considering everyone had to learn Civil Domain in the first place. Kuzukai being the new head, neat, doesn't mean anything. For a sequel, I don't want it. I'll be completely real. I'll make a whole video talking about it more in depth, but I've been seeing a lot of talk, especially with how everyone's alive. Everything seems so sweet. We haven't really addressed the culling game, so there's only 2 chapters left, so maybe Gege is going to take a break. Maybe it's going to be a Chainsaw Man Part 1 and a Chainsaw Man Part 2 kind of thing. It's going to be wonderful, amazing, beautiful. Everyone's going to click our heels when Gojo comes back in the final chapter. He's going to wave to us and say, I went, no, blah, 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 blah. Ultimately, no, I do not want a sequel. I mean, I'm fine. The only reason I don't really want a sequel is because I feel like a lot of the character journeys are finished and or Gege wouldn't really write them. What is Nobara's character journey from this point? What is Megumi's character journey from this point? What is Yuji's character journey from this point? And what are they going to fight? Notably, the only hypothetical and plausible reason I've seen for a sequel is the fact that since the strongest in history and the strongest of today both died, aka the world is kind of just void of 2 massive sources of extreme power and cursed energy, the world's going to auto-balance itself again. Just like when it auto-balanced itself when Gojo was born, and just like it auto-balanced itself with the birth of Sukuna, presumably that's going to happen again. But just like with Sukuna versus Gojo and their time span difference, that could be instantaneous, or it could take 1,000 years. We genuinely do not know, but I'd rather just let Gege rest. Part of me is just genuine disinterest in the universe from this point on, considering all the major antagonists are dead, and I don't want any of them to come back, since they are already dead, and also I want Gege to rest, because being a mangaka is an extremely, extremely, extremely hard job. So, for the future, I'm not that hopeful, I just want plot points to be wrapped up. As the end of the chapter itself says, only 2 more chapters left to wrap everything up, and I'm kind of just waiting for the wrap up. But at this point, since we made it to the end of 269, I'm out of time. Is the chapter worthy? I like lore. I'm looking for an excuse. I'm drawing it, but you can tell by how gingerly I drew it, how lost I am about it, how conflicted I am. It's literally me. This is a case where I'm giving worthiness based on what I've seen other people say about the chapter, and how ultimately a lot of my issues with it come down to my own personal bias. And while I can personally understand that I do not like this chapter and likely never will, and probably will go down as one of my least favorite in all of JJK history, that doesn't mean other people don't like it. That doesn't mean other people didn't need it. Doesn't mean that it doesn't have value, despite what I think it does to the characters, what I think it does to the plot pacing, what I think it does to everything else. But we got lore, so the chapter's worthy. However, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please do me a favor and leave Shadow anew. Shadow as in like shadow, and then anew as in A-N-E-W in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do happen to have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the 35-minute live reaction to this very chapter, ad-free variation of all my videos, ad-free variations of all my videos, and if you become a $25 patron or a $25 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also, I do have a link to my Ko-Fi in the description down below. You can drop 5 beans for a short video, 29 beans for a long video, or any beans at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with a pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members: Sierra, Greyhound, Eternal Flame, NMA, Real Rare, Red Wolf 4765, Paris Arnold, Astro, Brandon Payne, and G Prosper. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $5 patrons: Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Encarnacion, Josh Brown, Igneal Lind, and A+A. And I'd like to give a big thank you to our $7 members: Autumn Mornings Lazo, Fine, Zombie Hunter, and Austin Wimberly. Then I'd like to thank you to our $10 members, Robbie Uchiha, Jay Warrior, and AZ Void. Then I'd like to give a big old thank you to our $10 patrons, Overlord Zero, Joaquin Munoz, and Idem Okami.
And I'd like to give the craziest, juiciest, most next-level, quadruple, sloppy, toppy, next-level superhuman in beyond this world kidney having thank you to our $100 patron, or that guy with a pencil tier patron, Calvin Elder.